What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Dermy Wormy, and I got some news. But before we get into that, I thought we could go through a bit of time travel a little bit because this is Amazon. Now I get it, this is Amazon, but this was Rings of Power information. Amazon tries to spin the Lord of the Rings of Power global success, Stranger Things, and Ozark's domestic numbers demolish the narrative. That's right. Remember, this is all gonna tie together. Rings of Power was a disaster. Rings of Power was it was a bastardization of Tolkien works. You know, you had awful numbers. You had actors coming out of the woodworks basically to say they didn't like it. You had actors leaving. Well, and we can't forget this. We can't forget. Now, these are some of the later, I think this is the second YouTube trailer for Rings of Power that was downvoted to hell. They were deleting downvotes. Remember that. They were deleting comments, which began the scene where Gimli looked into Gandalf's eyes and lovingly said, "Luke, I am your father." Made me cry my eyes out. Remember, that all started because of this awful show. Well, we got a new thing. Lord of the Rings movie set at Warner Brothers. New Lord of the Rings movie set at Warner Brothers. I don't like this. I like one of the directors put in the helm, or one of the people put in charge of like this whole area, DeLuca. I don't like remaking these. These have already been done nearly perfect. I don't think you can ever get perfect. But let's get into it. Warner Brothers Pictures is revamping the Lord of the Rings. I don't like that. I don't like this. I do not like that phrase. Film franchise. On Thursday earnings call, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav announced that newly installed studio leads Mike DeLuca and Pam Abity have brokered a deal to make multiple films based on the beloved J.R.R. Tolkien books. The project will be developed through WB labeled New Line Cinema. The first Lord of the Rings trilogy, helmed by Peter Jackson, grossed nearly $3 billion worldwide. Jackson's follow-up trilogy based on Tolkien's The Hobbit matched those grosses. Yeah. How did The Hobbit do? How was The Hobbit? It really wasn't good. I like The Hobbit. I think there's parts of The Hobbit that are good. My biggest criticism to The Hobbit, though, is, for crying out loud, the Smaug fight was broken up between two movies. Hobbit should have been two movies at best, two movies. One movie, some people argue, I say two. Mainly because of the epicness and some of the storylines and things like that. You could do it in two movies primarily, because I don't want to rush through the Smaug battle. That's my big thing, the Smaug fights, and you can do some other stuff, and how epic some of the stuff is. It takes a while. The Hobbit movies weren't critically acclaimed like Rings of Power was. Not Rings of Power, The Lord of the Rings was. So, yeah. No filmmakers have been attached to the project as of yet, but in a statement to Variety, Jackson and his main Lord of the Rings collaborators, Fran Walsh and Philip Beyonce, said Warner Brothers and Embracer have kept us in the loop every step of the way. We look forward to speaking with them further to hear their vision for the franchise moving forward. Jackson, Walsh, and Beyonce said. I'm probably saying that wrong, but Beyonce? I don't know. Okay, so that's one step in the right direction. One step. You still got a lot of things that you need to do. What was that dude's name? I cannot think of it off the top of my head. It is escaping me. But the dude that was attached to both Jackson's trilogy and was originally assisting with Rings of Power before he spoke up and then got fired, the Tolkien scholar. Yeah, if you get them involved heavily, him and Jackson, this could work. Being fair here, it could work. I don't think it's required, but it could work. Freeman, a division of Embracer Group, made the adaptive rights deal for books including The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. The pact will be billed under the name Middle-earth Enterprises. Notably, DeLuca and Abadi left MGM last year to take the helm of Warner Brothers. Their exit followed the acquisition of MGM by Amazon. The tech giant owns the TV rights to Lord of the Rings and produced a single season of television as the gut-busting price of over $45 million in 2022. Yeah, how's Rings of Power doing? It costs a whole lot more than this. It costs a whole lot more than this to make this show. This is just for one season. It costs them billions to buy this show and to make this show. It is not a success, remember. So, in the age of Rings of Power, in the age of all that, maybe let's not touch Tolkien right now. How about that? Because people are so turned off by giant corporations touching this. Now, I get it. Warner Brothers is also making the Rohirrim, Ride of the Rohirrim? War of the Rohirrim animated movie. That actually looks pretty decent. When Rings of Power came out, Warner Brothers whipped out their dong and reran the Jackson trilogy in theaters for cheaper. They started promoting the Jackson trilogy all over the place because they wanted to be known that they own those rights. So maybe this is just them whipping out their dong again saying, hey, Amazon, we saw what you tried to do. We're going to do it better. I don't want to play around with this, though. That's where I'm coming from. I don't want to play around with this. Let's not. Following our recent acquisition of Middle-earth Enterprises, we're thrilled to embark on this new collaborative journey with New Line Cinema and Warner Bros. Pictures, bringing the incomparable world of J.R.R. Tolkien back to the big screen in new and exciting ways, said Lee Ginchard, CEO of Fremont. We understand how cherished these works are, and working together with our partners at New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers Pictures, we plan to honor the past, look to the future, and adhere to the strongest level of quality and production values. Part of that I like. Honor the past. I like that idea. I like that idea. Look to the future. I'm hesitating on. It's like this double amount of this double speak that Hollywood likes to do, that, you know, we're going to honor the past, but we're going to progressify it. We're going to make it for a modern audience and things like that. That's what I get scared when it says look to the future. I might be reading too much into this, but again, Rings of Power just happened. That was a trash fire of a show. DeLuca and Abadi recalled that New Line had previously took an unprecedented leap of faith to realize the incredible stories, characters, and world of The Lord of the Rings on the big screen, but for the scope and detail lovingly packed into the two trilogies, the vast, complex, and dazzling universe dreamed up by J.R.R. Tolkien remains largely unexplored. Yeah. And let's be real, Rings of Power isn't Tolkien. That's a bastardization of his work, and it's Tolkien in name only. That's about it, and it's barely even that. You could do some fun things here. You could make this work. Warner Brothers owns a lot of the rights. They own a lot of Tolkien. So they can make this very interesting. They could make it more in line with the books. They could do some very interesting stuff like that. I mean, let's take a look at like Dune. Warner Brothers did Dune recently. Dune is, I think, really good. I know there's some Dune fans that don't like it. Adam, my buddy Renaissance Nerd, he doesn't like it. Mustang, my buddy, Mustang. Hey, Mustang, how you doing? He's not a huge fan of it. They have problems here or there. It really depends on how the next movie's going to do to judge everything fully. That being said, I still think they're a pretty good movie. I think they can work. I think those are doing pretty well. When you come to Tolkien, though, you gotta adhere to the Tolkien world. You got to adhere to the Tolkien audience, and a lot of Tolkien audience right now are extremely burned. Because again, we come over to Rings of Power. Everything Rings of Power has hurt. It hasn't hurt Lord of the Rings fans. Well, let me rephrase that. It hasn't hurt Lord of the Rings as a brand. It hasn't hurt Tolkien's works at all. It has actually furthered people to go read the books and interact with the books. What it has achieved in doing, though, is making people a whole lot more guarded against adaptations, especially adaptations to Lord of the Rings and Tolkien as a whole. The Tolkien fans don't like you touching this stuff. I can just look at this. They came out of the woodworks to bash this show, myself included, because I hated it. I'm a Tolkien fan. I'm very, very hesitant on this whole subtopic. And part of me thinks they want to outmatch Amazon and they want to just whip their big dong out and say, we can do it better than you and we can succeed. The other part of me is saying, let's not, and just let's bring out the other parts that Jackson has. Let's finish Jackson's whole things, because he has a bunch of clips and stuff. Let's just do that. Let's do that. Let's not do this. But that's just my thoughts. Let me get your guys' thoughts on this whole subject down below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it out with your friends, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video and go live, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye for now. Oh, real quick, before I forget, tonight, Ballbusters, my new show co-hosted with my buddy Soldier Spirit, will be airing its first episode. Come hang out. We're mainly just gonna be a talk show, no real topics except one, and I will have a special guest, Sheila Aliens from Comicsgate, coming on, and we're gonna have some fun. Come hang out, enjoy us, and I'll see you guys there. Bye for now.